folks. I don't know if you caught that, but the fox cubs are fighting just across the fence from me. And I'm sat sheltering under some trees from the rain. Oh, how dramatic. We've got a storm brewing around our house. I say we have brewing. I think it's actually started. It's been building for the last hour or so. Air thick and heavy with expectation. It feels like the clouds just want to dump a lake on us. You can almost smell it in the air. The distant thunder has become a lot closer. Whether we'll catch any of that on footage, I don't know. And you get the occasional flash of lightning across the sky. In the house, the lights have given an occasional tremor, as if somewhere there's a distant electricity substation doing battle with more high voltage than it knows what to do with. Oh dear, the foxes. Anyway, where was I? Yes, my daughter is giddy with it all, a bit like these fox cubs, I think. She's been rushing out into the garden in the hope of catching a glimpse of the lightning and screaming at each crash and rumble. We just want it to break, to soak the grass and the garden, the potatoes, and leave everywhere feeling refreshed with that distinctive wet earth scent. Just for now, I'm just going to sit and listen for a while. And then I think I'm going to go indoors and finish the rest of this before I get absolutely soaked. I think I might have stayed out in that weather just a little bit too long. I got caught in it, but I've got some cracking footage that I'm going to share with you right at the end, so stick around for that, folks. Anyway, where was I? Oh yes, welcome to COVID Faith, a conversation between me and you in the comments down below as we share and discuss all sorts of topics raised by our journey through these unusual and sometimes challenging times. And it's a challenge that I want to discuss today, the challenge of fatigue. I want to use the imagery of the calm before a storm, that time where the storm is building but it hasn't broken yet, and seemingly there's not a lot specifically going on, and yet for some people it creates real proper tension, headaches and physical pain. And using that imagery as I reflect on the fact that during lockdown we've been seemingly doing not a lot. We've been doing less, and yet increasingly I'm hearing reports of people who are feeling tired, who are feeling the effects of fatigue. So what's going on, and how can we use our faith to help us with that? So at the beginning of lockdown, many people were almost excited, it would seem, with the prospect of a fresh start, a reset. Lists were made. People were determined to be more community involved, to be more organised, to finish old projects, to learn a new skill, to lose weight, as if. But as the days have gone by, most of us have got tired of trying, it would seem. Maybe we aren't seeing the progress that we wanted to see. Maybe our prayers aren't going answered. Maybe we're just run down. And maybe the last few weeks have simply been hard or over busy. The first thing that we'll tell ourselves is just to keep going. But how do we do that each day? After all, it isn't easy to keep going if we aren't seeing progress, however we might measure it. Maybe we're tired of feeling sad that we miss our family. Maybe we're tired of being sick. Maybe we're simply tired of being tired. Something is draining us. Our bodies develop new aches during the day. We make it to bed exhausted and we hope for more energy in the morning. Maybe we're too tired to pray that day. Maybe we're just tired of praying the same thing over and over and not necessarily getting an answer. Here are a few ways to try and find a way through the fatigue and to stay close with God. I'm going to start with thankfulness. I'll put a link up above to a video that I've done before about that topic. Even if you're already having a rough year, and let's be honest, who isn't feeling challenged these days, there may be a dozen or so moments where God has been present in your life. Maybe through the words of a friend, maybe, or an act of kindness by a stranger, whatever it might be. Counting your blessings seems like an overused thing to say, but it's a good way to make your life purposeful. Thank God for those spotted moments of grace, the good days, the smiles. Let us mark this year as one to be remembered as having God in it and not just a year to get through. Hold on to those moments. Say thanks for those days because they were God's way of loving you in the midst of your trials. We all have different ways of remembering these moments of thankfulness. For me, it's my phone camera. I take photographs of things that have brought me joy. For you, it might be keeping in a journal or an extended diary or a memory box, whatever works for you. But find a way so that you can look back and see that although you may be physically drained or emotionally empty, God is with you in each day, in the big and the small ways. That gives us the motivation and the energy to keep going. So if thankfulness is the first way, the next one is celebration. And I know that sounds a bit of a big ask. It's easy to rush through the day and get it over with so that you can start fresh, so that you can get more rest. But instead, let it linger. Just as you gave thanks for those small moments of grace, celebrate rest. It may not always be a perfect rest. It may be interrupted by pets or children or noise, but celebrate those moments, those small hours of rest, if possible, that God allows, because God created rest for us to enjoy, and not just so that we could be more productive people. Rest is a gift. Also, celebrate the successes in each day. Just like the blessings journal or the memory box or the photographs, celebrate the joy. Our lives are purposeful, not just passing. You may not feel like celebrating after a trying day, but laughter and joy is an easy reminder that God is in control of our lives. I got quite wet outside, but I just celebrated the fact that we had rain. The garden is parched, and I loved the feel of the raindrops on my face. Maybe I was trying to get in touch with my inner child for a moment, who knows. Also, have faith. Again, easy to say, hard to do. If God doesn't seem to be answering your prayers immediately, and let's be honest, why should my timing be God's? Know that He is still there and still cares. God is in the business of encouraging each of us to be all that we can be, in the easy and in the rough times. You're not alone. Remember that a person who exercises always wants to give up because they're tired, but they don't, because they know that if they keep going just one more mile, they'll become stronger or faster. There's plenty in the Bible that uses that kind of imagery, the imagery of perseverance. Have faith that God is with you through these hard times. This isn't just for you to get through. It's easy to want to stop trying because we're tired, but it takes more to have faith that this is a way to become closer to God and a way to experience His love more. So faith. And finally, wait. So much about Christianity is about waiting. And if you feel like you've been waiting for an answer, a break, Know that God is faithful. It's easy to want to give up on waiting on God because it is tiring to hold fast to God. It is tiring to pray the same prayers. It is draining to physically ache to see in person the family we have been separated from since March, or to pull through COVID, or to return to work. Keep waiting. Don't give up hope. God is faithful in our waiting, and God knows the pain of your heart. We hear this a lot in Christianity, that we need to wait on the Lord, and it's a hard lesson to learn, but it's also true. It's a way to come to God daily and rely on God because we are expectant, we are hopeful, we are waiting. David writes in Psalm 130, I wait for the Lord, my whole being waits, and in his word I put my hope. I wait for the Lord more than watchmen wait for the morning. That's the kind of waiting we should strive for. It will take our whole body. It will be tiring. It will be more than even the watchmen do. But that's how it should be done. So many of us want a fresh start or more energy. Maybe we want to forget this year, but we can't let go of it all. We must remember these moments that God orchestrated and make every day purposeful. We must hang on even though it's tiring and wait on God's goodness. This isn't an easy thing to do, and it requires leaning on God, not something that comes instinctively to us when we're all raised to be independent. It requires trusting in God's power more than our own. Don't throw these days away or rush out of it because you're tired. Make them count toward God's glory and pray that you will stay purposeful. So 3 questions to end on. How can you remember the good things that happen to you? I said for me it was taking photographs. What works for you? Secondly, name one thing, however small, that you are celebrating this week. I'd love to hear that down in the comments below. And finally, what's the most dramatic thunderstorm that you have ever encountered? I'll put some footage up of the one that I did on a holiday late last year. Tell me your thoughts. How do you remember the good things? What's the one thing that you're celebrating this week? And what's the most dramatic thunderstorm you've ever encountered? And in the meantime, folks, stay safe and live love.